It all began just another day in the monolithic corporate tower where I worked. The imposing structure piercing the sky with its 60 floors. I was an IT guy, a mere cog in the colossal corporate machine. My domain was in the basement, a stark contrast to the executive suites that kissed the clouds. One day, I was summoned to the 45th floor to fix a computer glitch. I had to ride the elevator, a mundane task I had performed countless times. But this day was different. As I stepped into the elevator and the doors closed, the fluorescent lights flickered ominously. I shrugged it off as a routine electrical hiccup, pressing the button for the 45th floor. The elevator lurched and started its ascent. I could feel my ears adjusting to the pressure change. Suddenly, the elevator jolted to a stop. The lights flickered again, this time going out completely. The display panel, which had just read 13, went black. I was plunged into a realm of darkness. A chill ran down my spine, not because of the cold steel around me, but the abrupt and eerie silence that consumed me. I tried to calm myself, pressing the emergency button. No response. I was trapped in a metallic coffin, suspended between reality and an unseen terror. Then I heard it, a soft whisper, barely perceptible, brushing against my ears like a phantom breeze. It was a woman's voice, pleading, begging for help. My heart pounded against my ribcage as I tried to locate the source of the sound. As the voice grew louder, so did my fear. I felt a cold, ghostly hand run down my arm, causing me to recoil in terror. I could see nothing, but I could feel it, a presence sharing the confined space with me. The voice started sobbing, her words echoing in the steel chamber. "Don't let him take me, please," it said. The desperation in her voice was palpable. But who was he? And where was he taking her? Suddenly, the elevator jerked back into motion, the lights flickering back on. The display panel read 45, my destination. But the voice, the touch, the cold dread remained, a chilling reminder of the strange encounter. Over the next few days, I researched the building's history. I discovered that decades ago, a woman had disappeared mysteriously from the building. She was last seen entering the elevator on the 13th floor, the same floor where my elevator had halted. I decided to confront this spectral presence. Armed with an EVP recorder and a courage I didn't know I possessed, I entered the elevator again, pressing the button for the 13th floor. As the door closed, the lights flickered. The temperature dropped, and I felt the familiar presence. I asked, "Who are you? Why are you here?" The air grew colder as I waited in silence. Then she spoke. Through the static of the EVP, I heard her. "Elena, he took me. Help me move on." I continued my late-night encounters with Elena, piecing together her story. She had been taken by a jealous lover, a man who worked in the building. He had killed her in a fit of rage and disposed of her body in the basement. I knew I had to help Elena find peace. I sought help from a local medium, a woman who specialized in helping lost souls move on. We entered the elevator together, carrying with us a sense of resolve mixed with fear. As we reached the 13th floor, the lights flickered and we felt the temperature drop. The medium, unfazed by the spectral presence, began to speak. "Elena, we know what happened to you. We are here to help." The air grew colder, and we heard Elena's voice, filled with fear and desperation. "He's here. He won't let me leave." Suddenly, the elevator shook violently, the lights flickering rapidly. The medium screamed, a chilling, terrifying sound that echoed in the confined space. I saw her being lifted off the floor, her body suspended in air by an unseen force. Things went dark. The next thing I remember, I was waking up on the cold elevator floor. The medium was unconscious, beside me, her face pale. I quickly pressed the emergency button, and this time, it worked. Help arrived, and we were taken to the hospital. The medium survived, but refused to talk about what happened. She moved away shortly after, leaving me with more questions than answers. I quit my job, unable to continue working in a building that held such a terrifying secret. The mystery of Elena remains unsolved. Sometimes, I can still hear her voice, pleading for help, a chilling reminder of the horror that lurks in the elevator. The building still stands, its elevators carrying countless employees to their floors, oblivious to Elena's desperate pleas. As for me, I've developed a fear of elevators. I take the stairs now, the memories of that chilling experience forever etched in my mind. I remain haunted by Elena's voice, a chilling echo from beyond the grave. I've always been a night owl. The solitude and silence of the late hours appealed to me, which is why I chose the night shift at the call center in the city's oldest skyscraper. The beauty of the vintage architecture was a sight to behold, but it came with its share of quirks, one of them being the old-school elevator. One night, I was the last one to leave the office. I stepped into the forsaken elevator, its metallic interior reflecting the dim lights. I pressed the button for the ground floor, but instead the elevator descended below, into the basement. Confused, I pressed the ground floor button again, but the elevator ignored my command, plunging into the basement. The doors slid open, revealing a dusty, forgotten part of the building. I felt a cold gust of wind as if the basement was exhaling its long-held breath. Suddenly, I heard a child's giggle, a sound so out of place in the silence of the night. I turned around to see a small boy standing at the corner of the basement, a faded rubber ball in his hands. He looked at me with a smile, his eyes gleaming with an eerie light. Behind me, the elevator doors closed. I was trapped in the basement with the spectral child. I could hear his giggles echoing in the vast dark space. I called out to him, but he just kept playing with his ball, ignoring my pleas. After what felt like an eternity, the elevator doors finally opened. I rushed in and hit the ground floor button. This time, the elevator obeyed, taking me away from the haunted basement. But the image of the child and his echoing giggles stayed with me, a chilling memory of my late-night encounter. If you enjoyed this video and want to hear more haunting stories, don't forget to hit the like button. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to our channel. Not only will you get notified every time we release a new video, but you'll also be joining an awesome community of horror and supernatural enthusiasts.